really what we're trying to do this year are three things. Talk about education partnerships, which, as you've mentioned, was very much the key last year. But one thing that we've realized as so many young people are leaving school these days, there just aren't enough places in universities, aren't enough places in colleges. And so part of what we're thinking about is how do we create alternative pathways for youth that leave school that enable them to get into work, perhaps to further their studies on a longer time frame. And part of that is really about getting youth involved in improving schools and in education work.
The P programs, that is your private-public partnership, is the only way to go because it then gives leverage to government to make achievements that could not have been achieved if you would use the public purse, because there are a lot of competition in terms of what government must achieve and what government must not in terms of the priorities. So getting an assistance in terms of resources from the private sector is making government its agility.
I love the brutal honesty that people came with, and to say actually it's not as straightforward. It's not like people come together and we sing Kumbaya and things get done. It gets messy, it gets icky along the way, and I think as long as there's sort of a North Star that you're all going to look to, or our true north as a collective, I think that makes the work a bit easier.
For us to work with the 80% of the learners that cannot read me for meaning means that we have to partner with other organizations that are intervening in that phase, and also follow the Eastern Cape Department of Education to see where their priorities are and what is it that they've got as a strategy to deal with those issues.
I think when you ask the average South African about rural education, people talk about challenges, and I mean, yes, there are challenges, but for us it's about opportunities, and it really is. I think we've found teachers that work harder than any teacher I've ever come across, and learners that work harder than any learner I've ever come across to achieve against those challenges and beat those odds. And so we get really energized by the kinds of opportunities that come from rural communities. And particularly when we talk about rural youth, they have so much to offer, and yet for the majority, we know what our unemployment stats are, there's very little hope. And so when we can connect that hope with the possibility and the training and support that young people need, suddenly there's a very powerful dynamic that can be a force for good in rural classrooms.
So this is a meeting of the minds across all sectors, of course with different interests. But what makes them common is the agenda to develop the people where they are.
These kinds of engagements are going to make sure that we deal with the challenging issues that we have in the rural Eastern Cape, and if it's even through one learner at a time.